I was thinking about... like, what Brad wants. A short film, What Brad Wants.
What would that
be? And what an ugly picture that would paint. Because what little filter you have between...
It be ugly?
With what little filter you have between what you actually are thinking and what you say, it's still a deeper, darker world inside the chasm of your mind.
You mean the difference between what I think I want and what I really want or what I need? I'm confused.
I'm just talking about the thoughts in your brain that you don't tell people. Like you decide, no, I'm not going to say that.
Oh, you weren't asking what do I want. You were saying, what if we could hear Brad's thoughts?
Right. What the movie, what Brad wants.
No one.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It would be the ugliest picture ever painted in someone's mind.
Most of the time, I'm quiet and not speaking because I've learned that if I spoke what was in my head, no one would want to be around me.
And right now, only I am willing to be around you. I won't even use the word want.
You and I have made a joke out of me being honest and saying what I'm thinking because then we can laugh at it because it really is ridiculous what goes on in my head.
Yeah. You already say a lot of things that are hard to hear. Then
is it just my feminine voice, the piercing bitchiness,
that has
the
a lot.
whiny
That has
tone?
That has a lot to do with it.
Okay.
But the content of the things you're saying is what I'm talking about.
It's more. It's all the same thing, just with different things. I'm really just saying that sucks, or that wasn't any good, or I suck.
When was the last time you had a happy thought?
Anytime that I think about anything other than the present. I live a fantasy life in the future that I believe will exist some point.
Don't you think that believing in the fantasy life that might exist at some point keeps you miserable?
No, I would have given up a long time ago if I didn't have this.
You don't think it keeps you miserable?
No.
By looking forward to things that may or may not be.
It's what keeps me content enough to not be filled with rage on a daily basis.
You are filled with rage on a daily basis. Have you heard yourself? You were just cursing at the computer.
That's not rage. You have not seen or heard Rage Brad yet.
Yes, I have.
No, you haven't. You've heard maybe 30%. You haven't heard or felt the full 100% of the mini Hulk Brad.
Well, keep that shit away from me because I do a pretty good job of biting my tongue around you as well.
You shouldn't.
No, because if you heard the inner rage monologue that I have to filter through so I can keep this calm zen.
Yeah, but most persona. Of your shit is not even has to do with the house. It's from what happens to you, the trauma that's inflicted on you at
the
school.
minute I walk in the door. It's you. It's you.
We barely interact.
No, and there's a reason for that. I put up with what I put up with all day, and then I come home, and there you are.
These people have no... I bet that they are buying this. This is not a real thing that exists.
And then you say things like, that's not really the problem. So
it's fake news.
I tell you, and then you act like it's just, he's just joking. Is it to make yourself feel better? He's just joking. I'm telling myself he's just joking so that I don't have to really change. Welcome to Movieisms. I'm Beckmeyer. That's
who cares? I mean, why do I exist?
I don't know. It's a question only for God.
I exist so that others can compare themselves to me and know that they have no reason to complain.
So this week we saw the movie Brad wanted to see. Which I wanted to see as well, but so when you said, let's go see that, I said, okay.
I immediately regretted it, because I knew walking in, I was like, oh man, I just had a flashback to the last time I picked a movie. It's like, oh, this is not going to turn out well.
The trailer made me laugh. I thought this could be funny. However, I was more enthusiastic about seeing like the Lego movie or something, but since we only had time to see one thing, we went to see the What Men Want. We went to see What Men Want.
We need to see 2 movies next weekend.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
See, this is going to be another case where I'm going to force us to see Alita, and it's probably not going to be as good as I want it to be.
Yeah, probably. Well, because you think it's going to be the world's greatest thing.
Oh,
like in
it
your
looks
mind.
so awesome.
In your mind, yeah. It looks like it's going to be the best thing ever. But
yeah.
I'm just not convinced. There's something about the trailers that make me feel like...
You look at that and you think, cartoons!
No, I think...
That's not a real thing.
No, I don't think cartoon. What I think is they're weighing real heavily on the cool imagery and everything, but I don't know if the story that they're presenting to us in the trailer, at least, is going to be all that compelling, because it is sort of the same young adult story, like the girl that doesn't know who she really is. It's the same thing as like Hunger Games, Harry Potter.
She's going to be the one.
Yeah.
The one robot to rule them all.
Right. So it kind of feels like they're presenting us like the same story that we hear with all the other YA stories, young adult stories. Yeah. But I'm not saying it's going to be bad. I want to see it as well. However, I'm not getting my hopes up. I'm managing my expectations with it because the trailer bedazzles you, but I'm worried.
You may not be aware of the number one rule of action movies. If the action is awesome and cool enough, you don't need to care about the character or why they're doing it.
I do.
You just go wow and enjoy it.
I do. You don't. I do.
Sometimes. I'm not going to have the same argument.
Well, you're the one that brought it up.
I would say...
You're picking the fight.
My proof would be like Jackie Chan.
I've seen about...
Most of his movies, it's bad story.
Yeah, I've seen about 2 of those movies.
Dude, there are
because
6 really good ones.
Because I need character development. Yeah, no matter how many action movies there are. No matter how great the action is.
Like, almost 100. He's made so many.
Yeah.
There's at least 6 really good ones squeezed in there. I've seen just about all of them. Anyway.
I remember you made me watch Jackie Chan's Who Am I? I think it was an HBO or a Showtime, something other. It was okay.
Yeah,
I wasn't blown away by it. This is probably 20 years ago at this point.
Yes, but as far as those kind of movies go, that was sort of in the top of his production value. One of his better ones.
So I do think though that when you're watching, and we're not even talking about.
I know
we're not even talking about it because we just don't want to talk about that movie. But I feel like that if you're, we can talk about Alita. Isn't it coming out? Is it coming out this week or something?
Yeah, the 14th, which is coming.
All right, so I feel like when you have like what makes an action movie supersede a good action movie, what makes a good action movie great is the character. So I'll go see, and I don't care as much about explosions and all that stuff if I don't care about the character. Like Die Hard. Die Hard's my favorite action movie ever, and it's not really like action. It's got action in it, but it's not like an action movie. It's more like a thriller that has action scenes in it. But the reason you care so much is because you can't believe the one guy is dealing with all that stuff, and he's barefoot. Like, it's just little things like that. So Alita, though, here's the thing about Alita. It looks like they've done the character thing and all that stuff, but it is kind of the same character disposition as, like I was saying, Harry Potter or any of the other YA novels or stories that came out after Harry Potter, where it's always like the chosen one story.
I will say that it does seem like she just automatically perfect and amazing at everything and picks the exact right move to do at the right exact moment, and somehow,
Well, she's a robot, isn't she? Have AI or not AI?
Apparently, she's better than the other ones.
So yeah, I mean, she's got something inside of her that makes her special. But so does Harry Potter. So does Katniss Everdeen.
I feel like I can't even say once a year, but I feel like once a year there has to be one really good action movie.
I'll tell you this: the fact that it's coming out in February does not bode well for us.
Oh my god, I hear this every year.
Well, between January and February is when they put movies that they think will do well, because they won't be up against all the movies that everyone else is going to want to see. So, you notice, I don't know if you noticed, there's a dry spell right now of movies. There's not, because they put out all the Academy Awards stuff, and they had all the blockbuster Christmas time family movies stuff, and we're waiting basically until March when what they call the spring and summer movie season starts, with Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
So, the fact that it might just be a smaller movie that they think won't do well up against a Captain Marvel or whatever, because obviously everybody's going to go see Captain Marvel or the whatever their Endgame, the Avengers Endgame. So, maybe they just want to put it up there so it doesn't have any of that competition, or maybe they think, well, we need to put a movie out in February because we just need to put a movie out. Let's put out this one. It's the best chance it's got to do well, because there'll be nothing else to see.
Yeah.
It makes me uncomfortable in terms of when they put a movie out in February or January, there's a reason.
But there's got to be movies in February.
Right.
Sometimes.
Right.
I do.
And that's where they put the shitty ones.
I remember, we're usually pleasantly surprised by one or two movies in February.
Yeah. So maybe this one will be it. I'm not saying it's not going to be good. I'm just saying I'm worried that it's not going to be good. And that normally means I come out of the movie going, it was better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We're probably not going to... I don't know. It seems like they're trying to do character development, but...
And you can't do much in a 2-minute trailer. And the thing is, we've been watching the same trailer every time the trailer comes out. Yeah. It's kind of like the same thing, which also makes me think that they don't expect much out of it because they're not putting a whole lot of marketing behind it. Like the Avengers, there's going to be 8 trailers that come out before the new Avengers movie.
You're depressing me again. Let's move on to the other movie that depresses
What Brad wants. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
What Men Want.
We've learned by now, I think everyone has learned that nobody wants what Brad wants, because what Brad wants usually turns out shitty.
Yeah. So we saw What Men Want with Taraji P. Henson and...
It's the chair.
I thought that was you.
No.
I thought you let a little slip out there.
It squeaks. Watch, I can't replicate it now.
Yeah, right. It was the chair.
There
right?
it was,
No,
see?
Was that you again?
Whatever, man.
Which, by the way, the trailer made me laugh. I liked the part where the kid comes in with her underwear on his head, and says, "Thank you for letting me borrow your mask. Welcome to Wakanda." And I thought that was funny. I thought some of the jokes in the trailer were funny, and that was true. A lot of the stuff that was in the trailer was the better parts of the movie.
Yeah. The punchline to that joke that isn't in the trailer is when the kid says later, I knew it
wasn't a mask.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's funnier than the joke, yeah.
I think what he was doing is they were asleep and he was playing around with it and got caught. So then he's like, welcome to Wakanda.
The movie is basically... There was a movie back in the 90s, I think, called What Women Want, where Mel Gibson kind of had this...
What do you think? Yes.
Where did Mel Gibson have the same thing where you could hear people's... Yeah, okay.
God, how do you...
It's just one of the... I didn't like the movie when it came out. I remember seeing it. But I couldn't remember if he was able to read women's minds or not anyway.
Yeah. By the way, they didn't specify... I don't think it was any male. I think it was... You had to be 18 or older, because she didn't seem to hear what the kid...
No, what men want.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't hear the kid.
I just took it as male, but...
I would like to hear what that kid had going on in his head. because I think it could have been sweet.
Yeah, I would.
The kid was kind of cool.
I was wanting to hear what he had to say.
So, but the basic premise is Taraji P. Henson is a hard-talking, hard-working...
She's like a tomboy in a way.
Ball-busting woman. And of course, ball-busting women often get called a bitch or cold, frigid, whatever. And so the basic premise is she doesn't understand men. She doesn't understand men. And of course, she works in an office where she's like the only woman.
Well, it's like, she's in competition with all the male misogynists, and they show that even in bed, she's like a guy in bed.
Yeah, she's beating the shit out of people and stuff,
and
which is funny to watch. It is funny to watch.
That guy, the guy that played the love interest.
Yeah,
he's a good actor, first of all, but he made good faces. Like, he was good at making faces. Like,
and
what?
he is a beautiful man. Like, that guy is like, he's fit. Yeah. He's in shape. He looks good. He's got the trimmed beard up nice and everything.
He really pulls off the genuine and kind.
Yeah.
Thing.
The where like the in the male version of this movie, it would be like the girl next door. He's kind of like the perfect guy next door kind of guy. Yeah.
He's a single father, has a kid.
So, premise, they show you in the trailer. She smacks her head one night, wakes up in the hospital, and now she can hear men's thoughts. And then we're off to the races, so...
Yeah. By the way, I want to say Erykah Badu was my two favorite parts of the film were any scene with Erykah Badu and Tracy Morgan. I mean, when is
Erykah Badu hilarious?
I've never seen her before in a movie.
I never have either. She is funny.
She was great.
She was, I won't say the funniest part of the movie, but you're right. She was, every time they showed her, even though she was kind of doing the same shtick, it kept getting funnier and funnier because she kept saying crazier and crazier things. Yeah. And I always thought that she was like a ultra serious artist type.
Yeah.
I did not know that she had comedic timing at all. But she was hilarious. And of course, Tracy Morgan, everything that comes out of his mouth, everything you hear in his mind, it's just, there's something about the tone of his voice that makes it funny.
Yeah.
Of course, he's also saying weird, crazy things also, but...
Oh, he was great as the dad. Like, everything he was saying to...
Joe Dalla. His name was Joe Dalla, and he had hats, not based on his son, but he had his own brand that said Joe Dalla on it, and he wore a hat.
He made me feel how teenagers feel around their parents, where you're just embarrassed about your dad. I was getting flashbacks of my dad. Yeah. Talking about me and all. I mean, I felt for the kid in the movie because Tracy Morgan was playing the charismatic dad so well. Like with to the press, he was saying he drinks 12 smoothies a day. That he makes.
This boy drinks 12 smoothies a day. He smoothies all the time. Every now and then he gets the. Did he call it shits or the runs?
I thought he said the runs.
He might have said the runs. Every now and then he gets the shits, but it's okay.
Yeah, you're telling the world that you give your son diarrhea. I felt for. I mean, there were some good performances. Overall, the movie had great moments, but wasn't a great movie.
In terms of a broad comedy, it had good comedic performances.
Yeah. There were laugh out loud moments that I felt okay. It was worth going out.
Yeah.
I didn't feel so bad about picking a terrible movie.
Well, you're just telling yourself that because you wanted to feel guilty.
It was funny.
So it did have. That's what the movie has: is good laughs.
Yeah,
consistently.
Not at the beginning. The beginning is not.
Yeah, the first 10 minutes we were both cringing.
We wanted to leave.
But once she started hearing people's thoughts,
then we were.
It was almost a completely different movie. Yeah. It was. Taraji P. Henson is in just about everything these days. It seems like, but. She's solid.
She just doesn't stop working.
Yeah, well, you got to ride the train. I mean, you got to do that. And I guess when you shoot it, she's on Empire, right?
Yeah.
When you shoot a TV show, you're doing that 6 to 10 months out of the year, and the other is it 6 to 10 months? It's like 6 to 10 months out of the year.
Like
so
she's never stopped working. She used to be on the show with the computer AI that predicted. I'm so bad with names of things.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
A guy invented a computer that predicts human behavior, and they would go save people.
Oh, you said AI, and I knew I'd probably never seen that show.
Quantum, yeah. I get it.
But the movie has funny stuff in it. Like, in that scene, things were funny. But what it doesn't have is a story that is at all thought-provoking. Because it's like the same story that the main character works at a place that doesn't appreciate them, or has something that doesn't appreciate them. They want more. Something happens, and they have good things happen to them, blah, 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 because they're taking advantage of the thing. But then, of course, eventually people find out about it, and then it causes problems. And then, by the end, everything's fine. I don't even think that's a spoiler, because it's the type of movie where people go to see expecting it to have a happy ending one way or the other.
I had a note on that, though. Even though it was formulaic, that I don't...
Formulaic, that's the word I was looking for.
Yeah. The moment that comes with all of those romantic movies where there's romantic interest where they were betrayed and they're like, I don't want to ever see you again. That guy really sold that. I believed it. I believed that was, a real person in his situation would react that way.
Yeah.
It didn't seem forced from the writer having to, do the 3 acts. Because, he had his kid and the way it was laid on him, what happened. I mean, I felt that moment. He sold it, and I was like, okay, it's... Even though this is formulaic, he sold that moment for me.
So the thing is, again, it's got big comedy moments in it. Within the scene, those things are funny.
By the way, it was awkward when... By the way, we're we're the only white guys in the audience filled with, black people. Yeah. So I guess as white people, we always feel like... Oh, I don't know. Like, it's like that joke where it's... I'm a cisgendered white male, and I apologize. I apologize. Yeah, I always feel like I'm sorry, I'm white. But there were a lot of moments where you and I were the only two laughing. I felt, and I was like, should I be laughing or should I? What?
I don't know. I think when they make a comedy, it's okay to laugh. I did. There was one N-word in the thing that I laughed at, and I was like, oh, but. It was intended to be funny because she said it like not Erykah Badu's character said it, and she's like a psychic, like a BS. Like she's not really a psychic, but she really is she sells weed, right? But she like under the guise of a thing, and she just blurted her thing out. She goes into like this trance thing, and she's saying like meatballs, and she's saying all sorts of stuff.
Meatball titties, something like that.
Yeah, I was hoping you wouldn't say it because I can't stand that word, but.
That's what she said.
I know, but I wasn't. Guy didn't. You notice I didn't say it. I said meatballs, and you're like, "Oh yeah," and you had to say it. I hate that word.
Okay, it's a funny sounding word, though.
Yeah. Welcome, 12-year-old Brad. Welcome, 12-year-old Brad. It's a funny word.
Are you not entertained?
But the scene. There's a scene. 3/4 of the way through the movie where she basically has had it, the conflict, like the gift that she's been given where she can hear people's heads has actually driven her crazy. She's irrational and crazy. She just wants it out of her head, and she knows everybody's secrets at this point, but she's been trying to hold it in because she can't tell people. Yeah. Then they're at a wedding, and she just like has this like literally a come to Jesus moment with everybody where she just like blurts out the whole thing. It's funny in that moment because she's like crazy-eyed, crazy-eyed.
Yeah, it's funny. She's saying all this crazy stuff, and then she'll say, "Praise Jesus."
Yeah. He's cheating on you the whole time. Can I get it? Praise Jesus, And then you have like the old black lady in the front pew, like fainting from the information. Yeah. Which that little snippet's in the trailer. So it has funny stuff. If you want to go laugh at a movie. This is not that bad of a movie to do that with.
There's some enjoyable characters.
You can't expect though to be provoked to thought in any way.
Yeah.
The only thing I guess you could really think about is, I mean, they literally had a scene where the dad tells the daughter, with great power comes responsibility.
Yeah.
Was it the dad, or was it the
I thought it
Erykah
was...
Badu character? It may have been Erykah Badu. Anyway, a character tells her, you have this great responsibility. You have power, so now you have responsibility.
Oh, yeah, it was her.
And I'm thinking...
She was saying, I don't want this gift, and she was like, well, you want to get a one up on the men? Well, you can do that now. And
I'm thinking, you can't come up with a better way to say it so that you're not ripping off the line that everybody knows from Spider-Man.
Yeah, and I will say that, I mean, we're going back to the formula thing. The moment where the character, because in every movie, it's just the story arc where, things go wrong. And then, they and then around the third act, they're like, oh, I know I did wrong, the moment. So it was just a bit much, her moment where she just apologized for everything and said everything that,
Yeah, and within 2 minutes, everybody's...
I couldn't help, but it was so...
Heavy-handed.
There you go. That it brought me out, and I'm thinking, that's not how real people apologize. So, but anyway...
And then in the end...
Yes, it's not a perfect movie, but it is fun.
So I will say the first 5 to 10 minutes of the movie is stale, and oh my god, what have we gotten ourselves into?
A lot of penises in the first 10 minutes.
And in the last... What is that? Oh.
The phallic symbols, not actual...
Phalluses, phalli. And so there's... In the first 5 or 10 minutes, it's... barely watchable, and in the last 5 minutes it gets too saccharine sweet, intentionally
everything works out
perfectly.
Yeah.
And you can tell that they changed lines because you can tell that they ADR'd the last couple of lines of the movie.
Yeah.
Because you're not seeing anybody talking, you're just... The last shot of the movie is the back of people's heads. And it doesn't... I don't know. It seems like they did reshoots. It seems like they must have done a reshoot to fix whatever the end of the movie was. Like the movie maybe wasn't hitting hard enough at the end. But it's a funny movie.
By the way, can I say the Jerry Maguire moment wasn't very believable either?
Which Jerry Maguire? When she?
I don't want to give away a spoiler. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That was I didn't.
It came from nowhere.
Yeah.
And if well, we can't really talk about it.
Yeah.
But it came from nowhere and was very convenient there at the end.
Yeah, I'm also...
not at the end. I mean, that moment was very
convenient. Since
convenient.
we're complaining, I'm also over the character in the movie getting what they worked for the whole entire movie and then saying, nah, don't want it.
You don't want to mention the Jerry Maguire moment, but you want to spoil that?
What the crap? I'm just saying. I didn't say.
You don't.
They'd have to Google. Trust me.
They don't.
I usually hate it when people repeat me, but that was funny. Okay, but seriously, I'm over that. I'm over I got what I want, now I don't want it anymore. And it's just like, you would have spent, in reality, in real life, you would have spent a little time enjoying that. Enjoying the benefits, the health insurance, and you would have savored the moment a little bit, and then done that.
Well, maybe. But, however, when you're working around people that you don't feel appreciated or understood by, maybe you start thinking, oh, I don't want that current version of this thing.
Yeah.
And you gotta stick it to the man. But you're right. You would either go before or wait till or go at some point after. You wouldn't wait till they hand it to you and then go, yep, but...
Yeah, because severance package. You get a better severance package if you...
Unless you're a highly charismatic person who wants to go out with a big bang.
Yeah, That is a thing I've seen on the internet, like epic best way to quit a job. You know.
So it's funny. Not gonna change your life any, but it's a good date movie. I'd say it's a good date movie. Yeah. You can go. It's a rom-com. It's definitely a rom-com.
Yeah, definitely a date movie. But you're not gonna really learn any life lessons.
You want to talk about the guy who was sitting one seat over from me, and when he was done with his popcorn thing, he set it down on my bag and spilled his excess popcorn over into my stuff. He just threw it. He just no, he didn't accidentally do it. He did it on purpose. He just put it over there, and it's like, it's my bag and my. Look, I had spilled out into the seat next to me as well, but it was my stuff. It wasn't like excess popcorn. You know, it was like, what are you doing? I looked at him, I was like, fuck. Then there were people next to you who were having a full-on conversation at least half the movie. Why can't people fucking whisper?
I don't know.
Did you heard it? You must have heard it. I heard it. They were 4 seats away from me.
I only heard them talking when I sat down after going to the restroom.
That's when they were talking about you, yeah. I'm just kidding. They weren't talking about you. No, through half the movie, they kept... I don't know what... I couldn't tell what they were saying, but I could hear their voices rumbling, competing with the soundtrack of the movie.
I got caught up in the movie, because the middle part is pretty entertaining. It's
pretty entertaining, yeah. So, Tracy Morgan is hilarious. Pete Davidson, that's his name, right? From Saturday Night Live.
Yeah,
he's got a small part.
I enjoyed his lines, too.
So, here's my thing about Pete Davidson. I thought... Because when you see him on Saturday Night Live...
He is so tall. I didn't realize how tall... It's mostly medium shots on SNL, but this was full on... Look how tall he is.
So, when you see him on Saturday Night Live, you see him constantly smiling like the shit-eating grin, which is funny and entertaining, but I don't know if that needs to carry over into movies. So I was waiting for him to not be funny in this movie because of that, but he was He was funny. He had a very small part. It's not like he came in and stole the scene every time, but he actually played a part and did that part. He wasn't like playing that movie's version of him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did. Yeah, he surprised me.
Yeah. I didn't care a whole lot for the assistant character. I don't think it was the guy who played the character. I think it was the character itself.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was kind of like annoying the way it was written. It didn't grab me. If I never see this movie again, I'm probably not going to miss it. However, for the hour and 45 minutes we were in there, it was entertaining for most of the time.
Now that I think about it, I think the writer was confused about that character because it was written as a character with high self-esteem. Yeah. But then ended up coming across as low self-esteem. Like, yes, man, whatever you say, man, you know.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like he felt he was worthy, but then
also,
sometimes he did.
It is a character that was... So, her assistant wants to be a sports agent.
Yeah.
Right? So... And he even starts spouting like sports statistics and everything. And she even says to him, "You think knowing a lot about sports means you can be a good agent?" But he never displayed any other agenting skills.
Yeah.
Like he never displayed any agenting skills to prove that he could do it.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you're going to write that character wanting those things, you got to show him being behind the scenes, working things out.
Let us see him pulling off some things that benefit her, and then she doesn't really give him the credit and all of that. You know, let us see that. But he didn't really show any.
Yeah, he just kept spouting stats, even though they'd already pointed out themselves that doesn't make you an agent.
Yeah.
Agent material.
Yeah.
And the friends, there were a couple of friends, there were 2 or 3 friends in the movie. One of them, of course, they had the funny white girlfriend, who kept, quoting Jesus and stuff.
Her girlfriend's made a good point, though, and I think I can say this. Not really a spoiler. They complained that she didn't tell them that she could hear men's thoughts.
Yeah.
They're like, we're your friends. We should have been the first people. And I was like, that's a good point.
That's a good point.
How come she didn't tell her friends?
I'm sure she just thought people were gonna think she was crazy. But her friends, each of them, so out of the 3 friends, here's the problem. So she could hear her friends' husbands' voices. So both of her friends' husbands, 2 out of the 3 were cheaters. They were players. Doesn't it seem like it's just the same thing? But like, come up with. If there's 2 of them out of the 3, you're going to have this happen with. Don't make it be the same thing. Make this husband's doing something. This husband's doing something else. Don't make them both cheaters.
Yeah.
And then the white friend, the white woman friend said, "That's why I didn't let you. That's why I didn't let you be around my husband, because I don't want to know that he's cheating on me." And it's kind of like, in a way, Taraji P. Henson's character did tell them. She told him in a big, huge, over the top comedic way, but she did tell them eventually. How do you tell your friend that her husband is cheating on her? Because you can hear his thoughts, right? So, but the thing is, when she did tell him, they got mad at her. That's why you don't tell your friends shit like that.
Yeah.
So the friends were wrong.
Okay.
She was wrong too. Everybody's wrong. The writers of this movie were wrong. I think the stuff going on in people's minds was so funny because they have a lot of comedic actors, and I bet you that those lines were like improvised lines that they just stood there and just said whatever.
They're in a recording booth. I feel like, if I'm the director and I have the actor there, I'm going to have them say what was written and then maybe 5 or 6 other things that they come up with. Because
there's a scene in The Office. There are scenes in the sports agency office where it's just full of men, and you keep hearing these like zingers, like boom, 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 one-liners, and every now and then someone says something. Man, I'm getting fat, like rerun fat. And it's like you're too busy laughing at that to hear what's happening next.
Yeah.
But that's, I don't know if the writer wrote that or if an actor said that and they just kind of threw it in there. But that's the sort of thing that you get from like workshopping something funny to say, like rerun fat.
You reminded me. One scene where the movie shines was the poker game, in my opinion. Yeah. Because I could tell that a real poker player wrote that scene. Because it's not really a spoiler. If you have the ability to hear men and you're at a poker game, you're gonna cheat. But yeah, oh man, Shaq. Everything they were saying at the table was great. But
one of the funny things Pete Davidson says in this movie is, "How big do you think Shaq's penis is?" It's just like something you hear when you're passing by and it made me laugh.
I heard that at least once every poker game about me. Like if someone's really tall or small, all the other guys think about is how big your dick is. It's annoying.
Go back to the poker game thing. I interrupted you.
So I played poker professionally for a little bit.
You're cured now.
Yeah, Tracy Morgan. He was. He's just like the charismatic player that would be at the game. With the where they love bluffing and they love the thrill of it. Like more important to them than winning money is the bluff, pulling off, scamming you or whatever. And when he got a hand of 7 deuce, and I told you, I was like, he's gonna go all in. 7 deuce is the bluff hand, because that it's just a thing in the poker world. Because Doyle Brunson won a tournament bluffing on 7 deuce. So every play poker, if someone gets 7 deuce, sometimes it's a little mini game in the poker game where they bluff with 7 deuce, and then they show you at the end. So that was I've seen just about every movie with poker in it, and have been angered and disappointed every time. But that moment I was like, man, that is I have experienced that moment in real life. That was good.
The poker scene was one of the more entertaining scenes because there were a bunch of guys sitting around, and you got to watch her where it would start to hone in on how to take advantage of her little thing. Yeah. And it was fun watching her start to learn how to manipulate people, even though manipulating people isn't always a good thing. But in terms of the frame of this movie, it was fun to watch and funny.
Yeah.
And Shaq was in it, and he said something in his mind about pretzels, crispy, and then he crunched down on the pretzels or something like that. Mm-hmm. It's just funny. They did use the inner monologue thoughts well. I thought they were good. They were good, funny stuff. So it's entertaining, fun movie to go out to. It's definitely not gonna make you think too much because there's really not much there. But it is entertaining and funny. And I'm still mad at Brad for not letting me see Lego Movie 2.
Yeah. So, are you going to punish me by going to see it without me and telling me it was great and saying, well, you should have seen it?
How did you know what I'm doing this afternoon? I'm just kidding. Well,
we're 45 minutes in. We could end the show if you want.
I was going to end the show, but you just said F you. Like, what do you want me to do that? Like, just act like I didn't hear it?
F you, the end.
So that's it. If you want to contact us, we're movieisms@gmail.com. I'm Becca Meyer, and on Twitter and Instagram.
I'm the BaldingEwok.
And tell us what you have to like. What movies have you seen lately? There's some good stuff on Amazon. Not Amazon. There's some good stuff on Netflix. There's some good stuff out. There's some interesting stuff out in theaters that are trickling in a little bit. Little smaller independent movies that don't always get a lot of attention. There's another time of year where they put those particular movies out. Mm-hmm. Let us know what you have to say. We'll talk to you soon.
The end.
Movieisms is a production of Super Mega Ultra Entertainment and is produced by Michael Beckemeyer and Bradley Kingston. If you'd like to find out more, follow us on Twitter or Instagram. And make sure you click like on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/movieisms. If you're enjoying this podcast, please take a moment and give us a 5-star review in iTunes. It only takes a minute and it helps us out more than you can imagine. Thank you very much, and until next time, we'll see you at the movies.